For the fearful, it is the unknown. But for the brave, it is a chance. Together, we can make a change. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Joe. While the IT is uh, getting prepared to put the next speaker on video, Mr. Carlos Vargas, Chief of Sections of Secretariat for International Task Force on Teacher Education. We would like to thank Professor Joe. So we acknowledge all the education leaders are here. We acknowledge that we have challenges from the Pacific countries, Papua New Guinea, and the other friends. We are here to listen to evidence from research and experience. And we've just, and Professor presenting his experience from China incorporated with his research, is aware of the challenges already. And being the best friend we have for this university, setting experience for us to work together and meet some of the challenges as we have just had. So thank you very much. Let me invite you to put your hands together for Professor Joe. So our next presenter is unable to come, but is got his presentation on video. Again, it's also from UNESCO. So again, as I've said, we are here with our challenges, but people are going to share their experience and research about what they see from the outside, and we pick to improve our policy, our governing, if we are education leaders. So this is the next video we play for us to see. Again, it's also
Yes. Thank you,
from
Master of
UNESCO.
Ceremony. Before we play the video, we would like to invite Mr.
Said,
Robert Paroa to say a few words.
we are here.
And then for the video presentation, we will defer it after all the plenary sessions are over. Then we'll play the video presentation. But for now, we'll invite Mr. Robert Paroa, who is the education advisor based in Egypt, Cairo, to come forward.
I just have to apologize because I do not cover the Pacific region. So, in terms of our institutional rules of engagement, I really would like to make some presentations on a number of UNESCO topics and programs. But given my jurisdiction is the Middle East and Egypt, we have invited the Pacific office to come, but unfortunately they could not come. So I'm very sorry about the absence of the Pacific office in not attending this very important meeting for the Pacific. Uh, just very briefly on the report, this is the first global report on teachers. UNESCO has just released last year. And the UNESCO field offices, we are raising awareness of the global report in all the regions. And for Egypt, I think we will do it at the end of the year. So you can see the rollout by the UNESCO field offices. Our chief of teacher education department and also the secretary for the International Task Force on Teachers, Carlos, my colleague, he will present the global report. One of the key features of the global report is teacher shortage. Teacher shortage is a very critical issue highlighted by the global report. And also in PNG, I think we also have teacher shortage. So we have to identify some good strategies to address the issue. And he will highlight on a number of key issues on teacher policy, retention, conditions of teachers. All the issues on teachers are now reflected in this global report. So it's a very important report. And I think it will set the stage for our discussion in the next 2 days. The other global report that UNESCO has issued every year is on what they call Global Education Monitoring Report, GEMR. Um, the The last year's report is on education leadership. So we have put all the UNESCO documents in the conference documents. So you will read, there's a PowerPoint on the global report as well. So you will also have access to that. And all the key UNESCO documents and reports, we have given it to UOG to put it as a conference document. So I just wanted to flag that this is a very important report. We want the discussion and dialogue to happen at all levels of the education system in Papua New Guinea, at provincial level, at national level, and at district level, to really highlight the issues of teachers. So I'm very pleased that our chief will present the report. Um, the Global Task Force on Teachers, Papua New Guinea is not a member. I want to speak to the chairman of the Teaching Service Commission so that they become a member, because the Global Task Force on Teachers has done a number of research on all the issues pertaining to teachers, teaching profession, and professional development of teachers. So I hope that Papua New Guinea will join the Global Task Force on Teachers. And as an institution, we're also trying to push UOG to join the Global Task Force on Teachers, which they organize global conference on teachers every year, which I think Papua New Guinea has missed out. And I really hope that Papua New Guinea will take part in that. And so thank you very much. This is the global report that's going to be now presented by our chief of the teacher education department at headquarters. And he's also the secretary for the International Task Force on Teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that did the justice to the video. We so according to the plan, we'll keep the video to the end, but a brief summary has already been made. So and the video is here, so we can set it anytime. So our time is kind of running, so we'll go straight to the panel. I would like to invite the panel up to the front. Let me introduce you and acknowledge you before you come. So I have the first panel speaker, Executive Director of UNESCO International Training and Research Center for Rural Education, and we'll be talking on education equity. Dr. Yuchi, please come up. The next panel will be from the president of New Caledonia University. We'll be talking on strengthening regional and international collaboration. Professor Catherine Rees, please, I invite you to come up to the front. And the next panel member will be president of Western Pacific University. We'll be talking on online teaching and learning, Professor Janet Ragao. So in this order, I will allow our panel members to talk. I also would like to acknowledge my honest students who are METS honest students who are here in front here. I was supposed to do that before, but they are helping me with the timekeeping and scribe. So I acknowledge them. They are our future leaders, and we would like to keep them close so they can hear and see what's happening by doing little things like this as the prize. So I acknowledge their presence here. So we will give you time and watch my students as they put up the timing. You would know that that's the minutes you have. But I welcome everyone. As I've said, we are now starting with a global perspective. People are trying to now contribute to their observation in the Pacific and in PNG, but also at the national level. So then we can make reference. A lot of leaders of education are here. You can make connection to what problems we have, so at least we can have a blend. And that's the purpose of this conversation. So I would like to invite in the order I called. So I invite Professor Yuchu to come and start. Thank you.
Stop. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor to speak in this big auditorium on the education equity issue, but focusing very much on how we're going to develop a support system for rural teachers. And today I'm going to talk about the following issues. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the challenges for rural teachers and also the weaknesses of traditional teacher training. And this will be followed by sharing China's practices in terms of establishing the support system for rural teachers. And then I'm going to introduce you a research done by Enrolled a couple of years ago on developing support system for rural teachers. And lastly, I'm going to define what is a support system for rural teachers continuous professional development. So here are the challenges for teachers who teaching in rural contexts. There are many of them. The first is they have poor resources and poor access to education, professional development, learning. And also, many of the teachers in rural contexts are feeling they are out of the system. Meanwhile, we can see many of the teachers less least experienced, untrained, and underqualified teachers. So the qualification is, in many cases, lower than their counterparts in the cities. And they receive very little or sometimes no support. And also, this will lead to a feeling of isolation. And they teach in large class size classes. As we visited yesterday secondary school, most of the classes in the size of 70 to 50 is very big. And in some cases, they have to teach in multi-grade teaching in very remote, small size schools. And lastly, they are overworkloaded and lack of incentive for further development. Against these challenges, we have to acknowledge that the traditional teacher training have its weaknesses. The first is lack of knowledge transfer or methods of classroom practice due to the sometimes it's one-shot limited nature of the intervention. A second is curriculum and training materials often developed in isolation from needs of the teachers. Most cases, they are developed by the university professors who are not very much about the actual context in the schools. And we see there is lack of qualified trainers with good quality and meaningful training, and training focuses very much on theory, but less on the practice. And then also the training sessions will have a lot of logistics and preparatory work. This will consume the good quality activities that might have an impact. And lastly, we see there is a high cost of this model requiring the teachers spend lots of time out of the school. Sometimes they have to travel to the cities to receive the training. So now I'm going to talk about some two practices from China. So here's a project. It's a UNICEF supported project on teacher support and the survey system with two phases. And teacher support and survey system was embedded in China's established practices in teacher profession development. This has supported the establishment of teacher learning center at the county level. So we have 5 layers of administration in China. We have the national, provincial, prefecture, county, and the township. So county is a very, very important level of the administration in China. So if you're dealing with a county, that means you can leverage most of the resources to support the teachers. And the core of this project is to establish a team of mentors. And the mentors are designed or appointed or deployed to the schools they can travel from one school to another school to give demonstration lessons, observe lessons of the teachers, and also organize school-based professional development. So here is some of more information of this project. So the vision of this project is every child has good teachers, every teacher receives support for their professional development, every school becomes a base for teachers' professional development. So the project has introduced 3 steps. First, they started by establishing a team of mentors. They are experienced teachers or senior teachers, and they know very much about the context or needs of the teachers because they are very close to the schools. Previously, they were teachers, and then build their capacity as mentors because to be mentors very different from being teachers. They need their own skills to build or play their roles as mentors. And then they are assigned to the schools to support their teachers' professional development. So usually for their activities within the school, they assess the teachers' professional development status, the needs, and then give teachers learning in practice, support teachers learning in practice, organize teacher training, and also providing mentorship. Help teachers develop their own professional development plans, develop training and mentoring plans, and also uh, uh, provide other kind of support based on the needs of the teachers. So here you can see the mentors are playing a very essential role. They are carrying a multiple roles, including they are a needs assessor, they are trainer, they're delivering the training sessions, they are doing the monitoring evaluation of the teachers' professional development and also the learning outcomes of the schools. They are coordinator, help coordinating the resources from external outside of the school within the school. And also they are the resource provider and providing consultancy to the school and to the teachers. So for the second phase of this project, they have introduced a new modality. So the mentors are provided with a robust vehicle, SUV, and the vehicle will travel to teach the mentors from one school to another to give support. That means it will be more easy for the mentors to the remote schools. So help the remotest schools to get access to quality teaching learning resources. So you can see this vehicle is equipped with a resource package, and we're also with training facilities, including a projector, a laptop, and also our including a camera. So can we get video camera, the demonstration lessons, and recording some of the training activities. And they are providing, and they are also because they are traveling from one school to another. So they are taking responsibility of sharing the good practice of one school and take them, transfer it to the other schools. So here is another project, and it's called Southwest Basic Education Project and Support Teacher Support System. So this project target the most disadvantaged schools and aims to build the capacity building of teachers and head teachers. And also it aligns with the government policies and practices. So here, as I mentioned, we have 5 layers. So this project aims to establish teacher learning and resource center, both at the county level and township level. So usually at the township level, we have the township center primary school. But under the center school, there's a couple of satellite schools or we call village schools teaching points under supervision of the center school. So this system helps to bring the teachers' professional development activities very close to the teachers. So this project has led to fruitful outcomes, including the capacity of teacher training and support system has been enhanced, and teachers receive training through teacher support system, and the teachers are receiving continuous support especially follow-up support after the training sessions. And also the teachers are receiving more resources. And we can see the positive changes in the teaching and behavior of teachers who have been supported through the system. And last but not least, it has made an impact on the local education policies. So now I would like to share a little bit about UNESCO ENULET's project, research project on support system for rural teachers, continuing professional development. So under this project, we have collect cases from Romania, Ethiopia, Cambodia, Mozambique, in addition to China's practices. So we have already got a publication published by Springer in 2015. And also we developed a guide on how to deliver support system rural teachers CPD, and this can be used for training policymakers as well as headmasters. And we are delivering training sessions from African countries on this topic. Now, let me just share a practice from Romania. So in this case, it's called School-Based Teacher Support System through Mentoring Program. The core of this project is build a strong team of mentors, and very similar to UNICEF project I mentioned. So the team of mentors assigned to different schools, and they are traveling from one school to another to give tailored support to teachers' professional development. So mentors are playing an essential role in the running of this system. This is a system from a case from Cambodia, and you can see it's also similar to China's system. It's a cross-school system. They have a center school, and under there's a couple of schools under its supervision. So the center school is building a teacher learning and resource center, and it has responsibility to support the professional development of those teachers who are located in the satellite schools. So here is a Ethiopian case. So it's a national system from they have the national teacher trainers, regional teacher trainers. But at a local level, they have the teacher resource center. So the teacher resource center has the responsibility to support the professional development at a local level. So here's a case from Mozambique. So you can see it's a NGO supported project, but has made a very good impact on local policy. And this pedagogy workshop is playing a very important role to help the teachers. And so the pedagogy workshop is a way that bringing the modern technology also very close to the schools, and the teachers working in remote schools who cannot access to internet, access to laptop, they can travel to the center to prepare their lesson plans and work together with other teachers for experience sharing and preparation of their teaching and teaching. So after looking into the effective practices in different countries, now let's just define what is a support system for rural teachers' continuous professional development. So first, it should meet the local needs. It should be participatory, and we should build ownership of the teachers about those activities. It's not from external. So it should be a decentralized system and have localized support, which is very close to the teachers. And we need to have follow-up support, peer support after the training sessions. We should include all teachers in training, but not only the selected ones. And last but not least, we should build on our existing system, but not to establish a separate one. And here's the definition. A teacher support system should be defined as a support strategy and the mechanism for teachers and schools in a given context, particularly in rural areas bringing together material and the human resources provide continuous relevant support to improve the conditions for the delivery of education. So I'm not going to talk about more on the features, but you can have it on the screen. And lastly, I would like to say these are the key principles for this teacher support system. First, it should be school-based. That means accessible for the teachers working at the schools. A second should be continuous, but not one shot or one intervention. And it should be interactive. The teachers should have a say. Their voices should be heard. It should be equal. That means cover all teachers, not only a small group or some selected teachers. It should be needs-based. It should be relevant to local context, even relevant to local culture, how we're going to take or get the local culture and local Western into our education system. And also should have evaluations for further development. And also the teachers' continuous professional development should be linked to school development. So that's all for my presentation. And I would like to thank you very much for giving me the time to present our English research. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, so I hope I will make it clear enough so that you can follow me even with my French English. So, dear education community, ladies and gentlemen, bonjour à toutes et à tous. Dear Chancellor, dear Vice Chancellor of the University of Goroka, and dear Dr. Jane Awi, thank you very much for the invitation to participate to this China Pacific Teacher Challenges Conference. And thank you, Professor Zoye, for quoting Victor Hugo, who is a very famous French author, who was highly concerned about social inequalities and who also worked a lot on a political level to make poor and vulnerable people visible. So I think that's a very good transition to what happened, and that's we still need in our region. Indeed, across the dispersed island of the Pacific, education never be seen in isolation. To train our teachers is to interlace connections between territories, between disciplines, and between generations. It is both a responsibility and a great opportunity to create cohesion where distance, diversity, and disconnection often prevail. So, as the president of the University of New Caledonia and as an economist whose research had focused on education and inequality, I would like today to offer some concrete paths to strengthen a bold, grounded, and inclusive cooperation in education across our Pacific region. Let us begin with a simple truth. Knowledge is a power to develop, a power to innovate, a power to adapt. It determines the wealth of nations, the competitiveness of businesses, and the cohesion of societies. The development of tomorrow rests on the education we deliver today. We all face urgent shared challenges: climate vulnerability, public health, food security, digital exclusion, and the need for qualified human resources. And behind all of this lies a fundamental and powerful catalyst: education. It is worth reminding ourselves again and again that education is an investment. It is costly, yes, but the benefits, both private and public, are huge. For a personal point of view, education boosts employment, earnings, and health outcomes. In most countries, one additional year of education is shown to increase economic output by 3 to 6%. But beyond the numbers, education fosters resilience. It helps individuals navigate adversity, develop self-discipline, engage socially, and fostering well-being. From a collective point of view, education leads to innovation. It strengthens productivity. It supports social cohesion and reduces healthcare costs. In short, education is among the most cost-effective public investments we can make. Now, let me turn to the sixth conference of the Pacific Island Universities Regional Network, the PION, whose I just attended in La Haye, thanks to the remarkable hospitality of PhD Unitech. PION is a growing network of now 16 universities across the Pacific, with now 6 universities from PhD, and the very last one is a Western Pacific University. Thank you, Janet, for joining the network. So the Pacific Conference in La Haye brought together nearly 200 academics, among them colleagues from the University of Goroka, of course, and showcases powerful insight, especially around education. Not all the presentations concern education, but lots of them focus on education challenges for our Pacific region. And this was very inspiring. Let me briefly highlight the main themes that we discussed in the last few days. It was about quality education and human resource development, from early literacy to higher education role in fostering leadership and well-being. STEM education, including the training of science teachers, innovative textbook design, and interdisciplinary approaches like sport and science. Indigenous knowledge and cultural integration, valuing local worldview, and teaching physics with cultural intelligence. Gender and inclusion, ensuring that reform take identity and equity into account. Digital innovation, exploring the promise and peril of technology and artificial intelligence in Pacific education systems. And climate education, using both scientific and traditional knowledge to empower our communities to adapt and advocate. So there are many themes which focus was on during the conference. So you can see how education was central to the research work presented in La Haye at this Pacific-wide conference, making it clear that we share the same challenges regarding education. So why must we cooperate? Because the challenges we face are common. Geographical isolation, limited teacher supply, unmet school health need, and digital gaps. But also because we don't only share the challenges, the solutions can be shared. Cooperation saves time, it sparks creativity, it multiplies impact. Together, we are stronger. Stronger to create knowledge for our region, stronger to train the next generation. Let me now offer 5 concrete avenues for regional cooperation in teacher education and research. The first one is strengthening education research network, because research is a key issue when it comes to improve quality. It could be through PION or through the very new Pacific Academy of Science that we launched last year. Let us build a structured regional higher education program. PION is a powerful asset for that. It brings together universities working on shared priorities education, climate, health, inclusion. They are all of them are highly related. So we could propose launching cooperative and comparative education projects with a focus on teacher training, creating pioneer-led studies on inclusive teaching, language policies, or curriculum reform, supporting young researchers through regional doctor schools and grants, establishing a pioneer thematic group on education and territories, publishing something like an annual regional report. The second path is expanding academic exchanges and joint training. Let our universities become platforms for cooperation. We can co-develop distance models for remote schools, encourage teaching trainer mobility via some of the existing programs like Erasmus+, launch co-accredited master degrees, for instance, in education in Pacific Island contexts. And why not formalize a Pacific consortium of deans of School of Educations? So the third avenue is mobilizing regional and international funding for all that. Opportunities already exist through the Pacific Fund, Asiatic Bank of Development grants, UNESCO, and even Horizon Europe for overseas countries and territories. We propose setting up a shared project development office across Pacific University, which could be hosted by PIRE to craft stronger collaborative funding proposal. The fourth avenue is embracing educational technologies realistically. Let us pool digital resources, develop multilingual MOOC platform, and support local edtech innovations. Lots already exist. Let's create an efficient tool to share them. One example, the Nation of Water Project. It's a 50-minute documentary, which is a powerful educational tool about climate migration, combining science and storytelling in the Pacific. We propose a regional digital platform co-managed by universities, a hub for trainers, student teachers, and school educators. And for the last one avenue of reflection, don't forget the essential, health and indigenous knowledge. First, health. A student who learned well is a healthy student. We know, and the European Union supported FALA project worked on that nutrition improves concentration and academic success for students. We propose health models for teacher training on hygiene, nutrition, and psychosocial support, and the creation of a pioneer education and health group. Second, about indigenous knowledge, let us connect academic learning with what is lived, observed, and taught in families and communities. This dialogue between traditional knowledge and scientific research builds trust and develops critical thinking, a core mission for higher education. So to conclude, I think that's what is important is to build on what already exists, not to create new networks or structure or to multiply dispersed resources. This makes each of them less useful. In the Pacific region, our challenges are the same, so our needs are the same. Let's share our resources and develop them. Cooperation is not about adding up our weaknesses. It is about multiplying our strengths. We have to value our diversities in languages and culture within our country. Those makes our wealth. The networks exist, the funding exists, the political will is growing. So what remains is for us to take the lead, to create interface, to dare to undertake projects on a Pacific level, Pacific region level. And above all, to represent by ourselves cooperation in our teaching, in our research, in our practice, and yet in our leadership. Thank you very much. Je vous remercie pour votre attention.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to acknowledge God and country because that is based on our motto. Our motto is for God and country. Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge the indigenous custodian of the land upon which we are gathered, the university, council chairman, vice chancellors from the region and from Papua New Guinea, academics, ladies and gentlemen. I think I need to bring you home. We've heard it from the international space, from the UN space, and from the Pacific. Our Pacific sister here has given us a perspective of education from the North, from China. So let's come home to see what is happening on home front. Am I right? Good plan. Okay, so my presentation today is about Western Pacific University and how we are embracing to address the digital divide in the higher education sector through online teaching and learning. Okay, how do I go from here? Now, this is the outline of my presentation. First, I will give you the context of WPU, the digital strategy policy alignment to which we are transacting this endeavor, the digital learning framework that we are using, the current scenario, and where we are thinking going forward. Okay. Now, let me give you the context upon which we are. How many of you here know if there is a university called the Western Pacific University? Okay, do you know where we are located? Yes, Yalibu, Southern Highlands, rural. Yes, yes. Do you know our strategy? No, we are focused on digital transformation. Okay, so we are a rural university in the outback of Papua New Guinea. Now, established by an act of parliament in 2014, it's one of the universities post-independence in the history of our country. So it is something that we can celebrate about. And it is started by Papua New Guineans for Papua New Guinea. Okay? That's the context. The space, we are in this space trying to transact a higher education, a university for digitalization through technology enhanced learning. Okay? Time, yes, we are a university of the 21st century, and we are living and transacting in an age of technological transformation. Now, do we know what industrial revolution we are in now? It's the fourth industrial revolution, and it is the age of innovations, AI, Internet of Things, and smart systems. So I think that's the challenge where all universities should be heading into. AI, Internet of Things, and smart technologies. Location, we are in the global south. You know where we are in the global south? Who are we here? the universities in the global south. Thank you, University of New Caledonia. Thank you, USP. You are sitting in our midst and others. I think the Australian universities here in New Zealand, we are in the global south. We are in the Pacific. We pride ourselves to be in the Pacific. Thank you, VC, for pointing out some of the things that we should be doing and embarking on in the global south, the indigenous knowledge systems, the decolonization theories on how we can embrace development for the Pacific. For us in Papua New Guinea, it is a challenge. And as we are established in the Highlands region, I uphold and give glory to University of Goroka for educating educators in the country for these past years. Let's give them a round of applause. We pride ourselves to be in the Upper Highlands region of Papua New Guinea. These two universities serve the dense population of this country. And I think we have a greater mission to do. Goroka for teacher education, maybe Western Pacific for a digital fluent Upper Highlands region, and for that matter, maybe the Highlands region. So donors, if you are sitting here, maybe look at these two universities because they are located in the densely populated region of the country. Okay, so like I already said, we are in Yalibu, in the remotest part of the country. People claim that they asked me, why are you still there? Or how come you're still there? When there's all these trouble fights and all these things happening. And I say to them, you only have to live there so that you can be part of the people to know, to embrace them, and to pursue transformation. And for that matter, rural transformation. Now, the context in terms of alignment, sorry, I think I've done that one. Digital strategic alignment, the external drivers to our strategy is looking at the PNG vision for Papua New Guinea by 2050 to be a smart, whatever. You can say the rest of it. We've been saying it for the last years. National digital transformation policy, yes, we are in it. And looking towards the fourth industrial trends as a university. Our own WPU strategic goal, we want to be the first digital university in the country. And we want to do that. Yes. To contribute to the inclusive access to education, reaching the unreached, our minister has launched a policy last year from the higher education space on digitalization and digital literacy in the university. So we want to be in that space. University of Goroka, we want to partner for research and innovation leadership. Okay, so together, like our former presenter said, the we context that we do it together. Okay, digital initiatives in our university, we are paperless. We are using a learning management system called Moodle and online assessment. Staff ICT development programs, we are harnessing that. We want to build smart campus infrastructure, and we are doing that. And thank you to the Chinese government. They have given us a digital library. It will be the first digital library in the country. Outcomes, we'd like to have our graduates be digitally ready, improved learning engagement, regional digital inclusion, if we have to share in the region, and international collaboration. Now, how are we doing that? We place ourselves into thinking into action and guided by the theory of change, where you have to embrace strategic thinking. We are all doing that in all our universities. But systems thinking, how do you transform the current systems into modern 21st institutions? And of course, place yourself to seeing what the future trend is like. So if there is any takeaway for you, take this diagram. so that you can go and start thinking around it to also embrace in your context. Just in a nutshell, this is how we posit our university, from assumptions to inputs to the activities that we plan to drive to outputs that we want to deliver and the impact. The impact that we'd like to be is that we want to be a technology enhanced university enabled with good practices based on quality conditions, and a university that is digitally focused. Okay? How are we doing it? I said on your on my right hand, on your left hand, you can see that is our teaching and learning framework. For those, all of you here, I humble myself to you because it is a teaching university. So you would know what pedagogy is. It's the theory of lifelong learning. It's the theory of self-efficacy. It's the theory of learners being independent learners, taking ownership. It's the theory that promotes that teachers are not, they are said that they are guides on the side to guide and facilitate teaching. So that is the model that our university posits itself. Now, we are using, as you can see in the middle, Moodle as the learning platform or program management. I know I don't have time to go through, but what are we promoting? Individual learning, collaborative learning, and facilitated learning. We have virtual lecturers that are in Australia, in UK, in India, wherever, beaming their lectures. But we have facilitators on the ground to support the learning for our students. The students are all ICT literate. They don't carry pen and paper. They have a dedicated computer, which we will be giving them tablets soon. Okay? So that's how we are promoting that. The current scenario, we are using Moodle, which is there. You can read for yourself, and maybe you would know what Moodle is because you're using it in your university. It's a modular object-oriented dynamic learning environment where it allows for multiple users, roles, teachers, and admin. I can sit in my office and even check if teachers are teaching and students are attending lectures with the administrative rights that is given to me. I can see if they are, I can see the assessment on Gradebook online. Okay, so it's a transparent system where it allows for collaboration tools, activities, forums, wikis, interactive assessment to track student progress and everything. And I think the students love it and the teachers love it too. We do course creation, student enrollment, weekly resources update, interaction in forum, collaborative discussions, and all that. Course backup. Okay, so we've been using Moodle for the last 4 years. That's all of that allows us to use. Okay. We have plugins, and IT people here will know what plugins are. So you add on to the LMS. Okay? Thank you. There's more features of Moodle. But after 4 years of using Moodle, we are sense making whether we're going to be relevant for Moodle. There's so many clicks. You have to go and you answer to discussion forums and give feedback. Why do that in the world of AI? So going forward, we would like to embrace our innovative approach where AI meets education. And you can see the smart systems that we are using here today in this conference. Those are our ICT people helping out University of Goroka ICT staff. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to embark on an innovative journey to integrate artificial intelligence onto our online learning ecosystem. This strategic move aims to personalize learning experience, automate administrative roles, and provide advanced analytics to improve educational outcomes. What will it do to us? It won't take away our roles, but we will train AI to do what we want for our students. So we are embracing an AI-powered LMS, an AI-enhanced learning management system that adapts to individual learning paces and styles. Also, personalized learning paths. The AI algorithm we will do together with our AI specialists so that we tell AI what we want. We do not want to replace AI. We want AI to know that this is what we would want to do. So to create a customized educational pathway for each student, and also to take charge of analytics. That is a program also that we are introducing in our university, and that is big data analytics. So utilizing AI for predictive analytics to identify students at risk and optimize course delivery. So ladies and gentlemen, it's not just about technology. It's about trying to embrace and technology to empower our human beings, and also to create systems that are efficient to address the current scenarios and challenges that we have. I'd like to leave everyone with this quote: great teachers continually focus on the students first. And that's what we continue to do. We focus on the students, the age that they are living in, and the world that they will step into. And that is the world of Internet of Things, AI, and smart systems. And that's all. Thank you.
Wow, that was good. Did you enjoy it? Yeah. So, uh, Professor Joe is here. I've got three presenters up at the stairs. I was trying to make time. And so, am I allowed to allow for questions? There you go. The order came, executive order. So, we have issues, which is a challenge for teachers in the Pacific. And I am able to have all education leaders here in different sectors. And we have just heard from UNESCO and from the universities who have done studies, and they didn't stop there. They collected evidence and they developed themselves to dealing with these four issues of recruitment, retention, professional development, and working conditions. So some are far, some are here, some we haven't studied yet. For PNG, we can start from where we are. That's the message I can give. But let me ask you to put your hands together to appreciate this wonderful presentation. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. Over to you, Chairman. Can we play the video? Okay, so thank you for reminding me. We have the video, Mahaiti. We'll probably close with that video, and I will hand it over to the chairperson to go on to the next session.
Hello, good morning. And thank you very much for the invitation to be at Goroka University today. I wish I had been able to travel to Papua New Guinea, but we're happy to join you from Paris. My name is Carlos Vargas. I lead the section for teacher development at UNESCO and the Secretariat of the International Task Force on Teachers for Education 2030, the TTF, the Teacher Task Force. And we're very happy to join you for this China South Pacific Forum on Teacher Education, where you will be addressing some of the challenges that the profession sees in the region. For that, I have prepared a PowerPoint, which I will be able to share with you, which explains and presents some of the challenges that the teaching profession has seen in the past few years, particularly one global challenge that has to do with teacher shortages, with the fact that we do not have enough teachers. And when we look at the reason why we don't have enough teachers, we look at issues around working conditions, professionalization, and others that you will see today. So if we can share, that is the report that we published last year at UNESCO with the TTF, addressing teacher shortages and transforming the profession. So in the first slide, you'll be able to see what's some of the purpose of this particular report. I would say it has a dual purpose. On the one hand, is to support the monitoring of progress, how the international community is moving in SDG 4, particularly SDG 4.c, basically the commitment of member states, of countries, to ensure that an enough number of teachers is deployed in education, that they have the qualifications that they need, that they have the support that is granted, and of course also to highlight the need to transform the education. We've seen that in different summits, the Transforming Education Summit, the high-level panel on the teaching profession. As you know, we have normative instruments at UNESCO on the status of teachers, and they are the basis for this particular report. So the basis of it is the need to transform teaching as a collaborative profession, and this has implications in terms of policy and of practice. In terms of policy, how we work with teachers to make educational decisions. In terms of practice, how we use collaborative pedagogies, how we promote collaboration over competition. And this, of course, within a lifelong learning perspective. I will be talking more about transforming teacher education from a lifelong perspective, like a lifelong and life entangled journey that begins with initial teacher education, but then follows with induction, with mentoring, with continuous professional development, careers, etc. We know that teachers learn in practice and that their practice gets better as they continue to teach. And we recognize teachers as knowledge producers, as public intellectuals, as policy partners whose knowledge can inform policy and practice. But for that, to give this recognition of the role of teachers, we need to improve their working conditions. We know the role of teachers is fundamental in achieving SDG 4, in achieving quality education, but we know we're still facing global challenges in terms of shortages. In the next slide, you will see some of the largest figures that have to do with the shortage. The report shows that we have in the world globally a teacher shortage of 44 million teachers. We need 44 million new teachers in primary and secondary education to guarantee universal education by 2030. Of this, at least 13 million are needed as primary education and 31 million in secondary. The shortage is distributed differently, with Sub-Saharan Africa having the largest, but we also have, South Asia with 7 million or so teachers that are needed. So in every country and in every region of the world, we do see that we have a shortage of teachers. And the shortage can be quantitative, as you can see, but it can also be qualitative. Basically, we have a shortage in terms of the qualifications of teachers. According to the UNESCO Institute for Statistics, about 85% is the proportion of teachers that have the right qualifications to be in the classroom, but that means 15% are not. And this is just an average. If we look at sub-Saharan Africa, at other regions, other countries, the number of unqualified teachers is larger. So there's global disparities in terms of the qualification of teachers, in terms of the pupil-teacher ratios, how many students a teacher has. In many countries, it's beyond 60 to 1, which of course compromises quality. And the fact that there are teacher shortages and that teachers leave the profession, of course, increases the pupil-teacher ratios at country level. In the next slide, I will share with you what are some of the challenges and what are some of the root causes of this phenomenon. First of all, we know the issue of teacher shortages is a multidimensional phenomenon. On the one hand, it is due to demographic change. We've seen in different countries, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, that there is population growth. Basically, there are more students, therefore you need more schools, and therefore you need more teachers. But what the report shows is that the main driver for the shortages is not necessarily demographic change, but it is teacher attrition. Basically, the fact that teachers are leaving the profession and they're not coming back to it. The report shows that the rate of teacher attrition doubled in the last 7 years, that teachers are leaving the profession, and they're leaving the profession for a multiplicity of reasons. One of them has to do with working conditions. On the one hand, the material working conditions, the remuneration, the resources, the infrastructure, the conditions to do teaching are poor. For example, in terms of teacher salaries, 50% of the world pays teachers less than other professionals with the same qualifications. And more than 20 countries pay salaries that are largely inadequate to meet just the basic needs of a household. So in terms of salaries, in terms of remuneration, that's something that needs to be revisited. But also, there are symbolic conditions for teaching. And this speaks to the confidence, the trust, the appreciation that societies have for teachers, to what extent they feel part of a prestigious career, and to what extent this appreciation that we have for teachers translates into policies that improves their conditions, that reaffirms that the society and governments trust in the work that teachers actually do. So the autonomy, the agency that we confer teachers is very, very important. And beyond that, we see other causes for international for teacher shortages, like international mobility. We know there's a poaching of teachers going to other countries in the north. Particularly, we've seen in the USA, in Australia, in Canada, and other countries that actually bring teachers from abroad to fill the gaps and the shortages, but they create shortages in the places that teachers are coming from. Also, internal mobility, displacement due to violence, due to crisis, even natural crisis, is something that we are seeing and that you probably are seeing too in Papua New Guinea. And then just to say that when it comes to teacher shortages, there are different phases of this shortage. On the one hand, it could be subject specific. So we see shortages in mathematics, in arts and culture, in science. But we also see shortages in terms, for example, of the representation of different social groups in the teaching profession. For example, gender is one particular concern, because we know that the teaching profession is feminized. And when it comes to ECCE, we see a large proportion of teachers are female, 95% globally. But as we move up in educational levels, we see that representation reverses, and we have less women in tertiary education, in science, technology, mathematics. We have less women in leadership positions at school level or in the administration of education. So there's a gender representation, a gender gap that needs to be addressed. Also, in terms of locality, the deployment of teachers and the talent distribution between rural and urban areas is something that we see of importance. I know colleagues in Rulet are in the room and we're working together on rural teachers because it's of particularly importance. There's where more shortages are and where the recruitment of teachers and the retainment of teachers becomes more complicated. In terms of ability, teachers with different abilities, also including teachers with disability, the diversity, the cultural diversity, the linguistic diversity. I know Papua New Guinea is the country with the highest diversity linguistically. And if we don't have teachers that teach in the language that learners speak, then the issue of relevance, the issue of quality is at stake. In the next slide, I will be able to share with you what are some of the findings of the report in terms of the policy measures that can be considered to address or to reverse teacher shortages. So on the one hand, we see improving salaries and retirement schemes is something that has worked. We've seen that in Kazakhstan, in Kyrgyzstan, in particular, they have doubled teacher salaries in the past 2 years. In Shanghai, in particular, we've seen the retirement scheme of teachers is high. They receive the complete pensionable remuneration instead of a proportion of it when they retire. And this is an incentive to remain in the profession. We've also seen technology integration in different countries for career development, for peer learning, like in Kenya, in South Sudan, excuse me, and in Uganda. The integration of technology can also help lower the workloads of teachers, the promise of artificial intelligence today to deal with administrative chores so that teachers can dedicate more time to in-classroom, to relational activities, to mentoring and others. The training and mentoring, the psychosocial support for teachers, particularly in emergencies in crisis-affected countries like we've seen in Kenya and Cameroon. But we've also seen psychosocial support in a number of countries, more than 40 during COVID-19, which was very important to support teacher well-being, but also to support teachers in providing support in terms of psychosocial well-being to their learners in times of distress. We've also seen in emergency and crisis situations, committees are being formed between parents, between teachers, between schools to protect education and teachers from violence. That's the case in Liberia, Nepal, in Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe, and other places. Another example that the report shows is that even though let's say the changes that are needed to improve the working conditions of teachers can be structural and they can be costly and they can be financially large. There are specific actors that can make a difference in terms of the working conditions on an everyday basis, and that's school leaders. Pedagogical school leaderships and practices that foster collaboration among teachers, we have seen contributes not only to improving the school climate, to improving the well-being of teachers, but importantly, they have also improved learning outcomes among students. There's a study that UNESCO conducts in Latin America, the regional and comparative education quality study that our office in Santiago does every 4 years. It actually shows that those schools with the school leaders that foster collaboration, that consult teachers, they have actually better results in learning outcomes, as I said before, from or in addition to well-being, school climate, and basically a virtuous circle altogether. Another program that we see that is very important is induction programs. For novice teachers, for new principals, it is basically the onboarding, is the welcoming of new professionals into the profession, into community that shares a body of knowledge, a repertoire of, of know-how, of practices, a code of conduct, a code of ethics, a code of service that teachers actually have. So welcoming newcomers, supporting them, mentoring is something that curbs teacher attrition. We've seen that in Scotland, we've seen it in Cuba, and in other places where in the as you know, the first 5 years of the profession is where teachers usually leave. Teacher attrition is accentuated in the first 5 years of service. So if we work on those 5 years to support teachers, to have them peer learn from more experienced colleagues, to cater for their professional development needs, chances are those teachers will stay in the system and will not trade the profession for something that pays better. Teacher management and information systems have also been very important in order to map who the teachers are, where they are, what they need, where they're not, where they need to be deployed. So for equitable deployment, management and information systems are important. We've seen examples in Malawi, in Senegal, South Africa, Uganda, Sierra Leone, and other countries that have been improving their management systems that are able then to distribute talent more equitably, to identify professional development needs in order to address them. And finally, the issue of incentives. Incentives for teachers help attract them to remote, to underserved areas in order to address inequalities. In China, for example, we have seen there's a housing policy for teachers to move to remote, to rural areas. In Ecuador, to indigenous communities. And there are different incentives that can allow for teachers to move and to support underserved areas. In the next slide, what I will present to you is more on the financing that's needed. If we want to address this shortage of 44 million teachers, then we need to make sure that we have the funds to either recruit or professionalize the teachers that are needed in the world. And that only happens if public education expenditure is actually raised from current levels. Right now, we are at around 4% of the GDP that is dedicated to education. When there is an international recommendation to dedicate at least 4 to 6% or 15 to 20% of public investment to education. So if we raise that 4.2% that you see on the screen to 6%, it would allow to expand the amount of teachers, to improve their working conditions, to support their professionalization. The global estimate is that we need around 120 billion US dollars a year just to address this teachers gap. So given the size of the challenge, international cooperation is very, very important. Now, the next slide will show, the next couple of slides actually will show the recommendations of the report. What are some of the recommendations to transform the teaching profession for a new social contract of education with teachers? First is to foster gender balance and to embrace diversity in the profession. We often see that the diversity of the communities, of the classrooms, is not reflected in the composition of the workforce. We were talking about gender. We've seen examples in Austria and in Germany when they boost female leadership or recruit more men in early childhood education. That has had results. We also have seen the consequences of having, for example, a lack of male teachers and role models leading to disengagement in the Caribbean. So fostering gender balance and embracing diversity is very important. Then enhancing teacher motivation through enticing, collaborative, and relevant lifelong learning is something that is really, really important. We need to conceive professional development in a lifelong learning fashion, as I was mentioning before. one that covers the whole life of teachers, but that actually is based more on collaboration, basically reshaping continuous professional development from a course-based, subject-specific, punctual, top-down training that happens, and more into teacher-led, collaborative, participatory professional development.
Um, okay, well, it goes on for 25 minutes. And because of the importance of it, we allowed it for some time, but it's going to cost us next program. So I can see my committee, Alabarani, so what we'll do is we can always put this one on a shared drive somewhere, and you can see it's important. So you can have a look and can gain information. But thank you very much for your patience. And that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muke. For this next session, I'd like to, that is sharing experience of Vice Chancellors of Pacific Island Universities, implementation of higher education policies. I'd like to, we had two Vice Chancellors already spoken, but I'd like to, the chairperson, I'd like to invite Dr. Matthew Landu, the Pro Vice Chancellor, Academic Innovation at the University of Goroka, to lead this next session and invite our Vice Chancellors. And then after that, probably you'll be given 4 comments, 2 questions, and probably 2 comments, 4 or 5 observations, and then we'll move to the next session. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Landu.
Thank you, Chairman, Mr. Akonai, MC. So we've read this powerful presentations by our speakers. We're going to work on implementing in our universities. The key people are the vice chancellors. We have vice chancellors here, our own vice chancellor at the University of Goroka, Professor Rangao, and Dr. Uma More from Fiji, University of Fiji, and Professor Rich from New Caledonia. Now, we'll ask you to come give some brief observation about how your university enhances the education of teachers. And also just to have some reflection on policy making, because here, like here in Papua New Guinea, we have the University of Goroka and maybe Peter Channel, PAU, who look after teacher education for high schools and secondary schools. The Department of Higher Education looks after the teachers' colleges for the primary sector. Down, and then the Department of National Education looks at all the schools from grade 12 down to elementary. So there's the challenge of collaboration between all these partners in education. So I would like to just invite the Vice Chancellors to come share some brief observation about how they are working towards attaining the global standards that we all want in our universities in our country. So first, Dr. Teng Waninga, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Goroka.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For University of Goroka, we'll keep it brief. What we are trying to do is to try and implement. The council has set corporate and strategic plan that we are implementing. We have 10 pillars. One is collaboration, one is networking, would like to quality enhancement, services of our students for things that we provide for our students, research, and trying to be one of the leading teacher training university in the region and in Papua New Guinea. So we have got a lot of gaps that we would like to um, connect. Firstly, we realized that there's a big gap between our employers, the National Department of Education, and ourselves. That's very critical. That's why we had a MOU signed by Education Secretary for us to work together with them. We produce teachers, and a lot of times we see that our collaboration with the National Department of Education is not there all the time. In terms of curriculum development, in terms of policy, and many other activities that they do, and decision making at the board level, the National Education Board. A lot of times they produce documents that we are not aware of, and sometimes we go keep collecting them. And I had some few discussions with the minister as well as secretary to say that we universities who are training teachers and those who are training people in education sector, we must all collaborate to work together to speak the same language. What we teach must be relevant to what they need and what the need of the classroom is. Therefore, we would like to work with them, and we worked very well over the last 2 years. We'll continue to work after our MOA. So those gaps we are trying to bridge. The other challenge that we have is the structural reform, curriculum reform. Now we are into 166, I think. First, they had another system, 266, 24, no, 6364. So those changes that they're having that in the National Education Department, we must also be aware, to be made aware, so that we produce teachers. We have been producing early childhood teachers since 2007, and then we were not recognized for the training that we had. And then now we are being told to produce early childhood teachers. So these are gaps that we will work. And it's very important for us this is the conference for us to speak out loud, to speak so that they can all hear and we can all hear. As they change the curriculum, as they change the structure, then they jeopardize our programs, because our programs, we cannot change it. It's fixed. So they need to tell us well in advance. And we academics here, we can fix things. But there should be more cooperation among Teaching Service Commission, the National Education Department, and NDOE. Secondly, we also find out, and we also see that our teachers' colleges, where they have moved into the higher education sector with a lot of promises, and now they're still hanging up there without putting them in the right place. I think Mr. Michael Miamal will say they were told that they will join the higher education sector, and their salaries will be increased, and they will be like universities. And now they don't know where to go, and they have no inspection system. Some of the systems that they had in the past through the National Department of Education is now missing. And it seems like our lecturers at the Teachers College are fixed in one Teachers College. There's no movement because no one is there to move them around. There's no movement for our lecturers to get promotion, because there's no one to go around and inspect them. So this is a gap we need to reach. because we are also training in-servicing teachers in the primary sector. We're also upgrading content level at the University of Goroka. So these are the mismatch things that are not working well with policy, education policy from National Education Department, Higher Education Department, as well as implementing colleges and universities in this. And University of Goroka is always affected by the changes. And we come to do a catch-up curriculum. And they tell us that, no, we are doing this, so you do this. No, we're supposed to be there to do the programs to fine-tune with the changes that are taking place. That's one of the things. And then the other challenges that we have for quality teacher training is that we are not assisted by existing high schools and offices in the provinces to allow teacher training, to accept our students for training in all the schools. I know we can understand they want a little bit of incentives for training our teachers. And this has become a huge cost. Teacher training is, for teaching practice and industrial training, we are spending over 7 million kina to send our teachers throughout Papua New Guinea. And this is becoming so expensive because all the schools are demanding us to pay when they're supposed to help us train teachers in this country. It is becoming our burden to train teachers. So I think there should be something that we can reach so that teacher training can be picked up by our schools and the education people in the provinces so that we reduce the cost. We cannot send students everywhere in the country because of all the costings that's happening. So that's a big challenge that we have for University of Goroka. And with all these challenges, I think we also have a challenge in ICT. I'm happy to hear from President for Western Pacific. She might be the solution to all the problems. Because we live in a technological world. Our students are now with phones and they want systems. They expect universities to have ICT so that it's efficient and effective. We use Moodle, but not to a very high level, just to enhance our students' learning. But Moodle, ICT is very, very important for us to provide for our students and for our staff. We visited a university in New England recently. When I was a student, we had at least 4,000 students present on campus every single day. A few weeks ago, we went and there were only 50 students. And I asked, where are the other students? And they said, staff and students are learning somewhere in Australia. But we are monitoring them, and I think she starts that. She knows exactly where the students are, what they are doing, and she knows that the staff are working somewhere, so they are monitoring through ICT. And that's something our good friends from China can listen in and take note. USP is another university that's offering distance and flexible learning through ICT. They have many, many centers around the Pacific. They are offering programs through ICT. And I am one of the members. Dr. Rango is here. Professor Boylawi is here. Our universities, we ask for ICT network where all our students and staff can have access. At the moment, it's very, very expensive. I asked USP. Yours is very, very effective. How much is it? They said they pay $700,000 to have the system effectively running. 7 and 800,000 is about 4 million kina for University of Goroka to budget every year. But if it's for quality, we have to try and improve on ICT. That's something that we need to improve. And one of the other things they said is we spend 800,000, but when the link, what's the network? Starlink, when they came into our system, we reduced to only 7,000 per month. For our country, they are going through a court case. Post and telecommunication with Starlink. So we are meat in the sandwich. I wish we could have Starlink to open up distance and flexible learning. Teachers teaching in the rural areas, you don't have to come here. You can stay there and we link all our programs through online. So they advised me. I don't know. I don't want to tell you the secret, but they said all universities should get together and ask the government to open Starlink for teaching, learning, higher education institutions, only for education so that we have access to this network. Other people can stay. Universities and colleges and learning institutions should have access to Starlink while the court case is on because it's cheaper, it's accessible. We can reach 85% of our people through that network, and we don't have it. And that will cause our problems because if I want to spend 800,000 US dollars for a system at University of Goroka, all my budget will be gone. And that's not good for university system should be a pride and should be something that's provided by the government. They can have a link for all of us so we enjoy this, but there's a big challenge to connect. Connectivity is a big problem. We have centers in our Solomon Islands and now we in Vanuatu and 18 centers around Papua New Guinea, and we are only doing the traditional method. We are not connected. And all our students are calling to see the face of the Vice Chancellor, and I am appearing nowhere to be seen. That's because of these challenges of communication and online learning and something that we can do for universities and colleges. I think that's the big challenge that I think we should talk as teachers. You don't have to leave your schools to come and get an education. You can stay there and we can teach you and give you a degree. Very big issue in our country. That's why I think University of Goroka, personally, we are looking for people. That's why you will see us giving headlines to so many newspapers, signing all the MOUs everywhere in the world. That's because there's a need. We need to collaborate. We have signed MOUs with our good friends, Beijing Normal University, Shenzhen Open University, China Open University, Shanghai Open University. And then we have done in University of New England in Australia, University of Fiji. We will soon sign a MOU with USP and Fiji National University. We discussed with our good friend from New Caledonia. We are signing some MOUs. It's in the process. This is part of our way to look for solutions by looking for friends. If we don't have, in this university, we are trying to look for other people who can help. And the people that we have approached, I think they're very good people. We have seen the right people, so they're trying to help us. Not only internationally, but we also collaborate with sister universities in the country. Professor Rangao and myself, we have already discussed that we will sign a MOA between Air University, the University of Western Pacific, and us. So UPNG, so as PAU and others. What we have, we share. What they have, we share. It's for the common good of our students and the future of this country. We had a traditional attitude or mindset that we must not share. We should be competing. I don't see any competition in the University of Goroka. I think we are beggars. We want to get everything we can. Maybe we're not beggars, but we want to reach out. We're not only reaching out for others to give, but we have our own to offer to them. So in that way, we work together. Collaboration, networking within, among ourselves, and with our good partners from China, uh, from Indonesia, from wherever, from Africa. It's good for us to network and we can help because educating the populace of Papua New Guinea, educating Papua New Guineans, our role to teach is solely to mold, shape the future of this country. University of Goroka, I always say that this is the mother of all universities. Without the University of Goroka, other universities will not have students. We teach students, we teach teachers to go and teach students, so UPNG can have some of our hard work. PIU can have it, Divine Wood can have it, but they will have it only through us. That's why I think they will help us more than we will help them. But thank you. These are main challenges that I see, that we need some intervention from the government, that is to open up our ICT, online programs. They should take responsibility. Funding is an issue. They give us so much money and figures on the budget, but we don't get the actual money. And then we have issues of the real actual problems that we have. We need to feed our students 3 meals a day. And when they say they're on scholarship, they want T-bone steak and they want very nice food, but we don't have that. They haven't given us the money. So this funding issue is another problem that we face in our universities. And so when we have funds, when we have resources, when we have good friends, I think we can provide education to our students and to our people in the rural areas with ease and maybe with a lot of convenience. At the moment, I think these are challenges that the University of Goroka are facing, so I'd love to hear from the other universities. But thank you, our friends from New Caledonia, USP, in Fiji, other Pacific Island countries that we are partnering with. We'll help each other. We share our resources, human resources, other resources, so that we can work together. But thank you. This is my sharing. Robert, thank you for helping us. We need to have people like this. Robert Parot has connected us to so many people in China, and now he's gone to the Middle East, so we might be signing some papers in the Middle East. But after all, we are happy we have Papua New Guineans who are serving outside who also have that to help us to progress. And we thank you, and we wish that some other Papua New Guineans who are living elsewhere and working somewhere can help, so we can work together. But especially, Robert, thank you, because you're also a good ambassador for University of Goroka because you graduated from here. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Teng Waninga, Vice Chancellor of the University of Goroka. May I invite Professor Boy Lahui Ako, representing the Vice Chancellor of the University of Papua New Guinea, for some brief observations.
Good afternoon, all. Greetings from the University of Papua New Guinea, and on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, I would like to extend here apologies for not turning up for this very important meeting. I think it is important for you to note that we are the oldest university in Papua New Guinea. Without the University of Papua New Guinea, I don't think we would have seen a lot of people sitting here. I'm only joking. You've seen the other scenario by listening to the Western Pacific and HARE presentation on what they're doing. I will be presenting the PNG experience, the UPNG experience. So if you look at what the Western Pacific University are doing, you will see that they're new, they're post-independence university. We are pre-independence. So it's important that we know that and we understand that. So the problems that we face are quite unique. The University of Papua New Guinea adheres to a strategic plan. And it's interesting for you to know that we initiated it in 2022 and it's ending this year. So we have to start thinking of another vision and mission to take the university further. The current position of the University of Papua New Guinea, our vision is transformation through integration, creativity, and innovation, repositioning the university for the future. We know that we have a lot of problems at the moment. So we have identified focus areas, and the plan is likely to address areas such as revisiting our academic programs, even revisiting research and the emphasis that we place on research. And as I said, we are the oldest, so that means we have to revisit our infrastructure. And importantly, we have to look at our student services that we are offering to ensure that we have quality students. Another focus area that we are working on is partnerships. So university like the University of Goroka, we would like to actually extend our international collaboration partnership with renowned universities or organizations. So the plan is aligned with the Papua New Guinea government's 2050 vision. Let me give you a snapshot of what has happened over time. And this is in line with the actual cues that we're given on the role of the university in education levels, which I will talk about our teacher education and teacher training and strategies for good global alignment in education. The University of Papua New Guinea has taken steps in its transformation. And for the last 5 years, I've been working with the Vice Chancellor very closely. She's been my consultant, trying to look at the Open College and what the Open College provides for Papua New Guinea. And we have actually changed the Open College concept. So when we are looking at the open distant learning, we have shifted from printed material onto online material. That's the shift. In itself, we need to have qualified practitioners. So you will find that this week, this conference, I'll be presenting a paper on lifelong learning. And that particular concept of lifelong learning is important, especially for developing teachers. We have introduced TEL, Technology-Enabled Learning. And as I said, West Pacific has done very well. And it is good to see it on paper, how it looks and how it works is only for HARE to tell us. And the scenario is, I think, is same for all universities. We always talk about we are on technology-enabled learning. how much of the technology-enabled learning is interactive. And these are the issues that all universities are confronting to actually address. We have issues with our technology-enabled, the implementation of the technology-enabled learning. With the shift from printed to online, we have to upgrade all our infrastructure in all the university learning centers right throughout the country. It is going to cost us a lot of money. For now, we have submitted a PIP for 13 million. For the entire university system that is externalized, we need 13 million for those centers to be effective. And that means transforming, making sure that all tech equipment are available, infrastructure are in place in order for us to roll out technology-enabled learning. For now, we are hanging there. I must not say that we are on top of it, but we will try to meet the government policy to ensure digitalization will take place. What the university has also done is to improve quality assurance. I wear two caps at the moment. I take care of the Open College as the executive director, and I also hold the role of the director for our quality assurance unit. So you could see the importance of universities moving towards improving their academic programs. We have actually took us 6 months to put our academic programs in place before the external reviewers came. We just had our external review in 2024. I'm not going to tell you our results, but what I am saying is the external review actually shakes a university up. And we've had it. We've had that shake. It's a vigorous shake. And we're beginning to realize that what we thought that we were very good in, we are not good in. What we thought was in place, it is not in place. What we thought that everything was smooth sailing, we are now encountering rough seas. So it is important that the government puts a lot of pressure on the universities to work on their quality assurance units so that people like me in those positions are actually shaking the deans or executive deans, we call them at the university, to wake up. And also the quality of the lecturers that are coming on board are the quality ones. Otherwise, quality can be questioned in all forms. So we could talk about putting on programs, but are those programs taught by very skilled content knowledge field academics who are in a position to make change? And talking about lifelong learning, we really need that. We are also working on re-establishing the Center for Research and Postgrad Studies to actually tighten our research agenda. We have dropped out of the national research agenda. We are just doing everything, anything. So we are trying to put our academics in place and telling them where to focus on the national research agenda. And this is where DHES comes in. DHES has to be very clear to all institutions right throughout the country that this is the national agenda, research agenda that you have to participate in. And this is where the PIAN, I happen to be one of those earlier people who participated in the PayStep project and the PayStep Plus program, program to actually come up with the idea of PIAN. And I think it's important that the establishment of PIAN and the way it has grown over time from 2013 until now so much has happened. I was very impressed because since 2014, when I left in order to finish my PhD studies, I found that so much has happened in the space. And it's about time that we, universities in Papua New Guinea, join PIAN and start doing collaborative research so that the ideas that we're bringing into Papua New Guinea are not Papua New Guinea alone, but is international. And I think we need international good practices to be practiced in our universities. For teacher training, well, Goroko, watch out. PAU, watch out. Divine Word, watch out. We are also thinking of re-establishing the education faculty we had that we brought here. I happen to be one of the key program writers, so please, you'll be in the near future seeing our PGD program coming on, our master's program, and our PhD programs coming on. They are now fully written. We are waiting for Senate approval so that those programs could be offered in the near future. We are looking at academic staff that will be in a position to join our staff to ensure that those programs are effectively delivered. I hope I won't be torn apart again to say, leave this, come over here. As one of the key writers in writing the programs and putting the programs together. Because when the program writer puts the program as it is, the program writer has to be in the middle of it to make sure the actual writing up of the course itself is done properly. Because it's coming from my lenses, not from the actual practitioner's lenses. So it's important that that focus that I had and the way I saw it is to be implemented. So we are thinking of actually doing those programs. Currently, we have an education program which we call the Bachelor of Arts Professional Studies in Education, and also the Graduate Certificate in Tertiary Education programs. The Graduate Certificate in Tertiary Education program is earmarked for lecturer training. And what we are doing is we retrain most of our early career academics in that program. We also retrain so-called senior academics who think that they have seen the good days in being a university lecturer, but sometimes you really need the skills again to actually become a very effective teacher. So we have that program available. The BA Professional Studies, I must say, is a program mainly earmarked for primary school teachers, but we have found gray areas within that. I coordinate the program, and I found that most of the graduates coming out from the teachers' colleges, after 5 years of experience, still lack skills. And it is sad. So when I am teaching them and when I am trying to role model a skill, and if the teachers are telling me, we did not study that at the teachers' college level, it raises a lot of eyebrows and it raises a lot of questions. And I would like the National Department of Education to revisit the teacher education program that is offered by teachers' colleges so that we bridge the gap between what the teachers' colleges are teaching and what the universities are teaching to actually reduce the gap, especially in terms of knowledge. And there are certain programs, courses that are taught in the teachers' colleges that are not well taught and well understood by the actual so-called teacher. So if our friends from the big organization is talking about teacher quality, where does the teacher quality come from? The teacher quality will come from good training programs that we universities are supposed to offer. Otherwise, we are not going to get the best teachers that we want. And the best teachers should be taught And if we're talking about University of Goroka, I was also a staff of University of Goroka before. All of us should be actually becoming role models and becoming the effective lecturers that should be doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. So sometimes qualifications is one thing, but the skill sets that you are coming in with the qualification, if it does not equate, it's no point having you on board. So for the University of Papua New Guinea, we are also establishing the School of Education, as I said. It's not the School of Education, the education strand. And we'll be actually, should I be poaching here? No. We should be looking for very good academics who should join my team to make sure that that particular program gets off the ground. So I'll start poaching very soon. Sorry, Dr. Webb. And the final point that I would like to say, we had the Vice Chancellor President of Western Pacific say, the pedagogy. We always talk about andragogy, pedagogy. The pedagogy is a very, very important development in the teaching and learning space, which a lot of us, university lecturers, need to actually master. Because this is a ology that we are, Gogi, that we are encouraging self-determined learners. This is now not self-directed like in the andragogy or the pedagogy where it's a training and teaching of children. This is making people become more lifelong learners. And this is missing in our space. So I'm challenging all of you, the lecturers of the University of Goroka. How much pedagogy are you using in your practice? And as a teacher educator myself, I always take it up on myself to challenge myself that if I want the best teachers to be produced by me, I have to be the best role model. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Mahuyako. We'll have Dr. Uma More from the University of Fiji. He's not here. Okay. Our two esteemed vice chancellors from Western Pacific and New Caledonia, we heard from you. So we will, we are pretty short on time. So we will stop here unless someone has a question or two for the vice chancellors. Yes. You can come.
Thank you, Vice Chancellors, for sharing your perspectives on reforming and transforming our universities. From UNESCO, I just wanted to flag very few points here. Number one, we have issued a 2030 roadmap for higher education reform, and that document is in your documents of the conference. I think that's a very key blueprint for transforming higher education and university systems. So please take a look at that. It was adopted at the third World Conference on Higher Education. It's the Global Conference on Higher Education is what UNESCO organizes every 10 years. So the last one was in 2022. And I want to really appeal to all the vice chancellors to take a look at the 2030 roadmap for higher education. And that's a very important, that gives you the entire roadmap on what you need to do to fundamentally transform and restructure and digitally transform universities and higher education institutions. Very quickly on the quality assurance part that you have highlighted, UNESCO has now established a global platform for quality assurance in universities. We have now established 5 regional networks. There's a quality assurance network for Asia Pacific. And I just want all our universities to join that network. And it's fundamentally very important. As a part of UNESCO's quality assurance program, we have recommended very strongly for setup of internal quality assurance units. I'm very pleased to hear that UPNG has set that up. And also we have promoted and encouraged universities to do external quality assurance assessment. And I think what the Vice Chancellor, the representative from University of Papua New Guinea has highlighted is fundamentally important to bring in external evaluators to assess the entire ecosystem of the university programs inside the university. And it will give you a very good snapshot of what you have done, what you've progressed, and it also provides the good recommendations. So we can plug you. UNESCO can now plug you to the global entire network of quality assurance. And I've also informed the Chancellor of University of Technology as well. And we're very pleased to see that you need to plug into the already existing network that UNESCO has established. I'm very pleased you mentioned lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is one of the very important global programs UNESCO is promoting. We also have a UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning in Germany. We can have another Pacific conference on lifelong learning. We'll be very happy to flag that. On the presentation by the Western Pacific University on digital aspect, I think what UNESCO had done is on to ensuring ministries have a digital policy framework, and you can see that is there in place. One of the other very important platform that we have promoted is on digital competency framework for teachers. And I think we need that to be adopted and also adopted at national level as well. For universities, I think there's some global platform that UNESCO is now promoting. Digital literacy, I think you've mentioned that. The other very important one is on the issue of media information literacy. I think that's a very fundamentally very important for all our students to learn the risks of also, now we have online programs that are very harmful. What UNESCO has now encouraged all the governments and institutions through the media information literacy. If you Google now, you will find an entire platform of UNESCO's program on media information literacy. The other very important dimension is the open education resources, OER. UNESCO has the entire structure, the guidelines, and the institutional policy frameworks on open education resources. This is one of the areas that we have pushed and encouraged all the universities to adopt a open access policy, because many of our students are unable to have access to school textbooks because they're very expensive. And we want the government at the higher education institution, ministry, as well as at university level to have an OER institutional policy, which UNESCO has all the guidelines and resources to guide you have that, because a lot of the very expensive textbooks, our students are unable to access to that. And OER policy is very and absolutely fundamentally very critical for every institution, because they must have access to learning. Now, if they don't have access to textbooks, they're unable to acquire the knowledge that we want them to acquire. I think on the Chinese experience that they presented, I just want to summarize a few of their experiences. Number one, I think China has funded the education programs 100%. So the financing of education programs and systems, as you've heard from our Chinese presentations. Number two, I think on the planning side, China has what they call a 5-year development plan, that everything that is planned, whether it's a school infrastructure, teacher salary, everything is financed by Chinese government. That is why they have succeeded. I think the third element is they have really ensured technology integration at the school level and the entire education system. And I'm just very pleased that the Chinese are now connected with UOG. So they will bring the digitalization front and the experience UOG, but we can also connect the other universities to utilize the Chinese experience. The other big global program on open and distance learning, since you mentioned, I just have to highlight that because the global and open and distance learning, ODL, we also now have a very big global network of ODL. And the Shanghai Open University is the one that leads the global network of universities on ODL. And in your presentation, I'm very pleased to see that the other global institution that the university should join on ODL is the International Council for Distance Education, which is a body that UNESCO has established. So I think this is some of the global institutions that our universities in Papua New Guinea, maybe in the Pacific, we are not plugged to this global hub. So we're completely left behind, we're isolated. And I think the latest trends and latest changes that are happening around the world, our institutions are not plugged into that. So ODL also, we have a very vast network, and I can provide you the information to especially join the ICDE. I think it's very important so that you can learn from international best practice and some of the good models that that they have designed. I think lastly on the rural education, I think the UNESCO Institute that they have presented, you can see, I think their agenda, they want to partner with University of Goroka to really focus on the issues with regard to rural teachers. So I think our friends from INRULED, UNESCO's Category 2 Center for Rural Education, it is one of the first Category 2 centers that UNESCO we have established to really devote attention on the issues regarding rural education, rural teachers, rural schools, infrastructure, everything. So, and financing of rural schools as well. So our friends from UNESCO Institute are ready to partner with the universities in Papua New Guinea and the Pacific to focus, I think, on research. I think research is a very fundamental issue. With research, you provide evidence for policy making. Now, without research, no evidence, we cannot take action. So I think the agenda of Enrolled is to engage with Pacific universities on research. And we hope that you will join Enrolled in the future in Beijing on some of the discussions and focusing on collaboration with University of Goroka and the Pacific. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parwa, for highlighting some of the threads and pathways ahead derived from our presentations that were made earlier and the sharing by our vice chancellors. We come to our coffee break. Allow us with one more question. We had very interesting presentations earlier by Professor Zhou Yu and Dr. Zhao Yuchi, Professor Catherine Rees, and Professor Janet Rangao. If there's one burning issue or question you want to ask any of these presenters, please, you may. Dr. Potek, if we can limit to question only, please, no observations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hagoya. Your question, please. Yeah.
Sir, from PhD you are more into competition. So I guess where is the balance
if there will be more collaboration into the future. Because one clear example is you are now saying that we will be introducing education courses and you will be most likely poaching people. Thank you.
I think you have really misunderstood me. There is no such thing as competition in education. I think the most important thing that we are sharing in this dialogue that we're having now is the importance of making sure that we have quality. And I think it is not what University of Papua New Guinea is doing that is better than what University of Goroka is doing badly. I did not allude to that. What I was saying was that I think in order for all the universities to improve and reach world standards, I think it is important that we work off you as the academics first, and then the students and then the infrastructure in order for quality to be seen. So to me, there was no competition. Unless you think there was competition, I think you have misunderstood me.
He was just speaking to me that he wanted to join UOG, so don't worry about that.
Chancellor Joe Webben.
My question to the heads of the universities. Before I get to my question, fundamental issue on you face a big challenge today, and then you have to address it properly. Number one, you need to understand that our population growth remains stagnant at 2.3 to 2.5 since 75. The only time there was increase in population was between 98 around that time. It was 3.2 and regressed back to 2.3 between that. That means that population growth is stagnant. You see the manifestation of it in the grade 12's output today. Between the years, you realize that you have 31,000, between 31 to 35,000 grade 12. And that has not changed. It's a constant situation. And in the 162 tertiary institutions, we have 26. We are only able to cater for 40%. And the 60% is kept annually in the National Higher Education Pool. Now, this now brings us a question to, are we as tertiary institutions, are we going to cater for the 60%? The dilemma is this. The higher education, Department of Higher Education, GPA, minimum GPA requirement for a student to be in a tertiary institution is 2.4, 2.2. Most of them have met that requirement. The bottleneck is spacing at the university. And these are also a question for the government to ask itself. We're increasing access to lower education without increasing space at a tertiary institution. We are squeezed in between. And this all contributes to youth unemployment, all the youth problems that we see today. The only way for me, the way I see for the university, is to actually collaborate and challenge the government as to what kind of lever of intervention are they looking at. I think it's about time universities need to collaborate, speak one voice, and say, what are we going to do about the 40%? You've answered this question. And I want the universities to look at opening up, open learning through the model that University of Pacific has adapted or has developed into. I think the biggest challenge is this. The biggest challenge is how can we accommodate the 60%? That is the challenge for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. I'm sure we have many more questions, but we now, oh, okay, last question from Professor Malpo.
Thank you. I have a simple question to ask. There's been the presentation, and we all know teachers are the backbone of every society. My question is, with the Vice Chancellor sitting over here together with the Secretary for Education and also Teaching Service Commission, could the Vice Chancellors plus authorities of the department and Teaching Service Commission come together and look at a way forward to increase teachers' salary? Because the UNESCO presentation pointed out teacher salary is one of the appalling reasons why teachers leave the profession. Can you all come together and look at how we can be like other countries in Europe where teachers are paid higher than universities and all that? Thank you.
Maybe you come. Professor Raghav, you can come. Maybe you tell us about how we can learn from you too.
Thank you, Dr. Malpo, for that. I think from the Vice Chancellor's space, I'm speaking as the Secretary for the PNG Vice Chancellor's Committee. I would like this conference to come up with a statement, Dr. Awi, come up with a statement to push the Vice Chancellor's Committee to propose to government, because I do all the letters to government, that would be something that we can take from the Vice Chancellor's Committee.
Professor Malpo, thank you. It's a very important question. I think in our January graduation, Prime Minister has already made a statement saying that teachers will be paid according to qualification and teachers will be given the highest salary. And I think that was his statement. People who follow him around don't take his statements and then take it into policy and submission. I think they like the plane and they like other things. This is a forum where we will raise it. Our Secretary for Vice Chancellor I think it's making a good call. A statement was made. This is the forum where we will be the basis to raise that. That Prime Minister already said it, so we want someone to progress it and make it better. Prime Minister made a commitment January this year. I think this conference is the right forum for us to set directions for us to talk to the Vice Chancellors. I think Secretary is saying it very well that we can present that to us and we can present to government for the call. Secondly, well, I think it's in order, but we only need a statement from this conference, a recommendation to take it forward. Secondly, Chancellor, you are saying a very important question. University of Goroka, we would like to open up our online facilities so that our thinking is that we are getting 7,000 students every year. This year we have 7,000 plus students on campus, excluding all the other campuses. We have another 4,000. But our thinking is that if we open up the online, the Starlink that I've talked about, if we can open up that space, University of Goroka would like to get 14,000 students, 7,000 on campus and 7,000 online. So we can help to reduce that number. So all other universities can do the same. At the moment, we can't because we can't open up our space. It's the blockage because of this ICT problems that we face. So I think that's another point that we will raise as a recommendation for this conference to vice chancellors to take it up to the government to allow Starlink to come only for higher education, teaching, learning institutions so that we run our programs through an effective network. Thank you.
Thank you, VC. Mr. Parwa?
Yes, the question, thank you, is very pertinent. I think for UNESCO, we have now put in two key important documents in the conference. The first one is on 1997 recommendation concerning the status of higher education teaching personnel. That is an international instrument that covers every issue on salary and conditions and status of higher education teaching personnel. So we have put a copy in the conference documents. You can take some of the articles and provisions in your argument and presentation to the government. So that is the only document that talks about the higher education teaching personnel on the types of incentives, types of salaries, the conditions, everything on higher education teaching personnel is in that document, the 1997 recommendation concerning the higher education teaching personnel. Now, for the basic level, for the secondary and primary school teachers, we have what is called the UNESCO ILO, International Labour Organization, status of recommendation concerning the status of teachers. That instrument is fundamentally very important, and that concerns the salary and the conditions of service and incentives for basic level, early childhood, primary, and secondary. So these two very important for this conference. I want to ensure that it has been in the conference documents. Now, there's a lot of provisions and articles on those two documents that precisely talks about all the conditions and service of higher education teaching personnel and the teachers at basic level, primary and secondary. So I think this is the document that you can use it to then articulate to the government. UNESCO has also advocated for these documents to be to the teacher policies we have also included what we call the teacher policy guide. Policy guideline is also for the education ministries and departments of education and the Minister of Education to articulate a comprehensive teacher policy. So we have just issued that to all the governments. So that document is also in conference documents. I want you to take a look at that so that from UNESCO, we see that some of the existing teacher policies in many are weak, and it also has some gaps in there. Now, what we have to advise the governments is to use policy guidelines to strengthen, improve the policies. So that is also an opportunity that we all as teacher educators, the vice chancellors, everybody, we can use that to really develop a comprehensive teacher policy that looks into every issue, every concern of our teachers and also the teacher training universities and institutions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Parwa. That brings us to the end of this session. I'd like to invite Mr. Akunai to come up and advise us on how we move ahead from here. is the master of ceremony, the program master.
Thank you, Dr. Matthew Landu, for sharing this session. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our vice chancellors who are here up at the podium. Thank you. We now invite them to take their seats. Thank you. So we will now have a break. We'll have 10 minutes afternoon tea, coffee, and then we'll have parallel sessions. Parallel sessions are for 2 hours. It's now 4 o'clock, almost 4:30. We'll run that for 2 hours. And at about 6:30, all our buses are assembled on my right. And the buses will take you straight to the dinner venue for our invited guests. And in terms of the parallel sessions, this is Max Solon Auditorium. This is one room for the parallel session. The next parallel session is going to be in Tesh Flaherty Conference Room. It's just on my right. Our students who are providing ushering will guide you to these rooms. So that will be the next room. And then the next room will be MSA tutorial room, which is in front. You will see a label which will say room 1. So that would be the third room. And the fourth room for the parallel session will be tutorial room 2. Our students are there to assist you. Thank you. Parallel sessions. If you are presenting, all our ICT team are ready in each of these rooms. If you have your PowerPoint presentations, please give it to them to load it into the computers, and you will present. Thank you. And I'd like to invite all the minute takers and all our documentation team to be at those respective venues to document the presentation of our presenters. Thank you for that. And may I invite you to afternoon tea and coffee.
A modern, smart classroom designed for sustainability and resilience, powered by solar energy. Step inside the smart classroom, where innovation meets education.
Designed for comfort and efficiency, this classroom provides climate control, natural light, and modern ergonomics to support optimal learning environments. All content shared on the smartboard is instantly mirrored to each of the 32 student tablets, making learning interactive, personalized, and dynamic. In remote schools, smart learning remains just a dream for many. But it's time we change that. Here, a 10-kilowatt solar system turns sunlight into clean classroom power. Excess solar power is stored in batteries to keep learning alive anytime. With clean power, digital learning thrives, even in the most remote places. Every student's tablet stays synced with the teacher's smartboard, promoting live and seamless. Track and manage your school's power live, anytime, anywhere.
PowerX ESS delivers clean, reliable energy day and night.
Mm. Yes. Oh, sorry, I can't answer. There are people at the registration booth. Hello? I, she's not around, so someone has to find someone to lead. Find someone to lead the session. Yes. Testing. I think it's out of the network.
Yes. Mm. Mm. Should be. Mm. This is documented. Yeah, that's the one, but I think you just open it up and let's see. Okay, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it should be this one. Yeah, that's the one. Education. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to this afternoon's parallel session, on Pacific Teacher Education Conference. We've had many speakers this morning, and this afternoon we have a lineup of four wonderful researchers and academics from Papua New Guinea and the region. So I have the privilege of chairing this parallel session. Now, if you had looked at the program, booklet and the book of abstracts, there were a number of themes. Now, for this afternoon session, in this room, our speakers will be mostly speaking about identifying and addressing key teacher challenges in the Pacific. This is the sub-theme that all of the speakers will speak to. Now, the presentations of all the speakers are already on the laptop that is in front of me. So the rule of the session is this. I will introduce each presenter to the stage, and you will be speaking for 15 minutes. You will be speaking for 15 minutes. And we have a timekeeper. Can the timekeeper stand up? Okay, we have a student volunteer timekeeper who will be putting up a sign when you speak for 10 minutes. Okay? When you speak for 10 minutes, he will put up a sign to indicate that you have 5 minutes left. After you've spoken for 5 minutes, he will put up another sign indicating time is up. So please avoid embarrassment by moving away from the mic when the timekeeper says time is up. Okay? After you speak, you can take one of the seats at the back, and then we will spare 5 minutes from each of you for questions at the end of all the speakers. Thank you.
I don't know what to say, but I think I bring you good news and bad news at the same time. And that is everything that was said is in order, except that we are going to end the program now because of the time factor we have. And we would like to ask you to have this session tomorrow. So we will organize for you to present tomorrow during I think we'll put a program and then we'll advise you. We'll make the announcement. But it's late now, and we would like our guests, invited guests, to return to their hotel rooms in preparation for the welcome dinner. So I sincerely apologize to you all for bringing this news. Sorry, MC, Master of Ceremony, the chair of this session. I apologize to you all, and I will exit.
Thank you, Chair of the Organizing Committee. So due to limited time and people have to go and do different things to get themselves ready for the opening dinner and other things. Sorry about that. And we will wait for a program tomorrow. And as soon as they put out the program, we'll start whenever time they allocate to us tomorrow. Thank you so much.